what do you want to do in life? Where do you want to go so that you can clearly understand what you're getting into? It gets a lot easier for you to see if this person really is going to be good for you or not. You need to be ready to take the leap. Hello and welcome to the Alpha Insight Podcast, where we talk about new ways to view our society and culture. This platform is not here to harm or shame anyone, but to provide the truth, hoping to help shape you and grow you into a stronger, healthier person. I'm your host, Jameson Reiling, and welcome to the show. All right, so welcome to today's episode. Today we're talking about how to know if you're ready to be in a relationship. I mean, kind of like it's like 5 steps to know you're ready to be in a relationship. So I'm actually excited for this one. I recorded it yesterday, didn't like how it turned out, so I rewrote the script yet again. This is like my 4th time doing this. Like, apparently I suck at round 1, so I just have to do round 2. Anyways. So last week we talked about some of the reasons why dating is becoming so difficult today. And today, I just, there's so many of us who want to be in a relationship so bad. And that's why I wanted to talk about this topic today, because there's just so many of us who want to be in a relationship so bad, but we need to go through the right steps first. So if you are still on track, if you understand what I'm saying at all, awesome. And I missed writing an intro. I forgot to write an intro, so that's why I was kind of struggling. So, but anyways, let's just get right into it. Number 1, you are ready. The first step to knowing you're ready to be in a relationship is self-reflection. Define your core values. And the reason self-reflection is so important is because a lot of times nobody ever really thinks about this kind of stuff. It's like, I want to be in a relationship, so we just get into any relationship because we feel lonely or just because we want something with somebody or whatever it may be. But before you get into a relationship, if you are considering it, this should be the first step, self-reflection. It's so important because it's vital to know before you get into a relationship who you are, what's your identity. And if you don't know who you are, how are you expecting to be with somebody else? I don't know, like having an identity, knowing who you are, it's not just knowing who you are, but it's like take the time before you try and get with somebody else to just understand yourself and like really just, find out what your values are, what are your core values? What do you want to do in life? Where do you want to go? And this is the basis of a relationship. Like this should be the very first thing before you consider being with somebody else, because everything else like lines up on top of this. It's like the foundation for a relationship. So self-reflection, it's like before you're trying to get into a relationship or before you're even considering being with somebody else, like just take the time to just understand yourself, like who you are, what you want in life. You have a sense of purpose. You know what you want in life, what your mission is. And this means when you date, you will be doing so with a purpose. So this is like the foundation of building a relationship with somebody else. First, you must know like who you are and what you want. Where do you want to be in 10 years, So this website, globalcounselingsolutions.org, says, by understanding how your purpose aligns with your values, you can make more intentional choices in your dating life. You can seek out partners who share your values and who support your purpose, and you can avoid relationships that conflict with your values or distract you from your purpose. It's just that, So if you're trying to just get into a relationship and you like genuinely don't take the time to do it right, like let's talk real quick about what that could look like or what might happen. So if you don't take the time to reflect on yourself, I don't know, this is the basis of a relationship with somebody else. Because then, okay, I'm gonna get ahead of myself if I just keep talking. So let's just go right into point number 2. Okay. Point number 2 is emotional stability. You have to have emotional stability before you're trying to get into a relationship. After you reflect on yourself and you're like, you know what you want, you know who you are, you have a sense of identity, you need to assess your emotional stability. And this is another crucial step to being with somebody else, because if you're going to get into a relationship when you're emotionally unstable, it can make this whole process a lot harder. Like, have you ever been in a relationship before and you were just not emotionally ready, or they weren't emotionally ready, and it just was insane? And it's like, when you're not emotionally stable, it can turn toxic very quickly, like the relationship, and then there becomes like codependence and whatever else. It's like, if you're getting into a relationship because you feel lonely, you're gonna regret it later on. So to build a healthy relationship, you need emotional stability. Both of the people in the relationship do. So why is this okay? So another website says emotional security is the bedrock of a stable, healthy relationship. It contributes to true intimacy and trust, from psychcentral.com. But many of us just date to date. A lot of us use a relationship as a distraction from our problems or feelings, right? And some of you may be thinking, well, like, that's not true. And some of you may be thinking, okay, that's exactly what I do. But it's like, the reason emotional stability is so crucial is because it's like the reason why you want to be in a relationship, I mean, so is point number 1, which is, reflecting on yourself, finding out like what you really want in life. And it also, like, that goes to show, like, okay, never mind, I'm getting ahead of myself. So emotional stability, all right. So another website says some people feel the need to rush into a relationship in order to either fill the void because they simply need a distraction, to feel loved, to distract and ignore the feelings they might have for someone else, or to feel important and worthy to someone. So emotional stability is crucial to have before getting into a relationship with somebody, because I'm just saying, like, if you're going to start out in a bad place and you have like, you don't know what your intentions are, it's not going to go very well. And also, like I said, just, I think it was last week, it was this quote from somebody else: don't go shopping when you're hungry, because you end up getting the wrong thing. And the same goes in life. Don't get into a relationship because you feel lonely, because you'll get the wrong thing. And when you're desperate, you will settle for anything, right? That's why emotional stability is so important, so that you can clearly understand what you're getting into. You can clearly assess the situation and, like, is this really the person that I want? Like, is this person going to be there to support my dreams and my goals? Like, is this person going to be the person I need to boost me, right? When you have emotional stability, you're not going to be dependent on that person. And a lot of times what happens is, when we get into a relationship, we begin to become dependent upon that person. And it's like, that's where we find our sense of of worth, and that's where people look for their own identity. So that's why I said, you need to, before all of this, you need to first define your core values and, do some self-reflection. Find out who you really are. Figure out, like, your identity, right? Who are you? Where do you want to go in life? What do you want to do? What are your core values? And when you have that figured out, and you're looking for a relationship, you don't need that other person to define your identity for you. Because when you base your identity off of somebody else or something, you base your self-worth in that person, it's not going to go well. I'm telling you, it's not going to go well. And I'm like, I've done it before. A long time ago, I was with this girl, and it was like, I thought everything was going great, right? But I was depressed. She was not doing so good herself. But I was like very, very mentally ill. I felt like I was like hanging on by a thread every single day. And I was with this girl, and I was just going downhill the longer I was with her, honestly, because I was trying to find my sense of worth in her, and I was finding my value in her. And it was like it became so like I became dependent on her and she became dependent on me. And then it was like two very mentally ill people who were like depending on each other to make each other better. And at the end of the day, I can't fix her. I can't fix anybody, and she can't fix me. And that's where I had a really hard time understanding for a long time, is that, because I've got this fixer mentality kind of, where I feel like I have to fix people and I can solve their problems for them. But at the end of the day, I can't fix anybody. I can't solve their problems for them. Only God can do that. And that was a lesson that I had to learn. But in that relationship also, what happened was, people were telling me, like some of my friends were like, how do you think you're going to help her when you can't even help yourself? And that's how a lot of our relationships go, even like friendships and stuff. Like in life, I feel like what happens is we try and fix everybody else's problems without taking a look at our own. But what I learned, it was so very important. You can't help somebody else if you can't help yourself first. So with that, like when people say in a relationship, and this happens a lot, I feel like, but people say, I need to take some time to figure out myself. I need to take some time and work on myself. That's like one of the best things you could do for yourself, honestly. Like if you know your relationship is not going well, if you know things are not going well, like take some time to work on yourself. And if it's meant to be, it'll happen. But you need to be able to help yourself before you can help somebody else. Emotional stability. Emotional stability. So point number three before you get into a relationship is clarity of intentions. Why do you want to be in a relationship? You've done all the self-work, and you know who you are. You know what you want to accomplish in life. You know where you want to go. You know, like, you've got your goals figured out. Like, you know who you are. You know what your morals and values are. You're mentally ready. You're mentally strong. You're ready to tackle the world, right? You're ready to tackle the world, right? So after you've figured out who you are, what you want in life, and you know what your core values are, and you have the mental and emotional stability. Number three is clarity of intentions. You have to know why you want to be in a relationship. Before you get into the relationship, this is what needs to happen first. Now you have to understand, why do I want to be in a relationship? And for many, this is different for everybody. For one person, it may be, I want to get married. Another person, a younger person, it may be, I just want the experience. And I'm not saying the experience is not bad. I think it's good to get life experience. If you want the experience of being with somebody, go do it. Just as long as you're mentally stable, you're ready, you don't find your sense of identity in this person, go do it. Have a blast, right? But before you get into a relationship, you do need to understand, like, why you want to be in one, right? And it's like you have a goal for yourself. You have a goal for the relationship. You know where you want it to go. So that if it's not going there, like, you're not going to waste your time and you're not going to waste their time. And if it's not going where you want it to go, then you can break it off, right? So clarity of intentions. And I wanted to go on a little rabbit hole real quick and talk to the younger folk, or maybe just the person who wants to experience a relationship just for the experience. Like, I think that's totally cool. Like, honestly, go do it. Have some fun in life, right? Life doesn't have to be like so serious all the time. But if you're like maybe younger, if you're going to try and get into a relationship, it's very important for you to assess the situation before. So, like, clearly though, what I see happen so often, and Valentine's Day is coming up, and so everybody's going to be lonely, and everybody just wants to get into a relationship because they're lonely. That's not the right reasons. Don't ever get into a relationship just because you're lonely, because when you're desperate, you're going to settle for anything, right? So understand who you are. What's your identity? Like, find yourself first. But if you don't know these things and you just want the experience and you're like, dude, I don't know, you just need to take a chill pill. Like, go have the experience, but just make sure you don't find your sense of identity in that person, because you won't find it, and you're never going to be 100% satisfied in a person or in a thing. You're never going to be 100% satisfied because, like, I'm telling you, only God can satisfy. So you know, like, if you're just looking for the experience and you're not getting into it just because you feel alone or all your friends have a boyfriend, girlfriend, or if it's just for the experience, just to understand what you want in a relationship, like, that's totally cool. You know, like, I feel like that's something a lot of people don't do these days. It's like everybody has a reason they're in a relationship, and it's like because of this or that, or they're running away from their mental problems and they just want to feel good. But I think it would be super cool if somebody was to just get into a relationship to find out like what kind of person that they want to be with, you know? I don't know. Anyways, that was stupid. But you understand your intentions for this relationship. So you're not wasting your time and you're not wasting their time. But not just clarity of intentions. I also want to talk about, like, I think it's very important. I'm going to mix these 2 points together and just make it 1 point. So clarity of intentions, you know why you want to be in a relationship, but you also know who you want, right? And this, it comes with the first and the second step and the third step all combined, but you know who you want. And you know who you want only if you've done the other steps. You can only truly know who you want to spend the rest of your life with if you know who you want to be, like where you want to be in life, where you want to go, like what your core values are. You can't really know if this person is really what you want for the rest of your life if you don't know who you want to be the rest of your life. So it's like this stuff all mixes kind of together, and it's a little bit confusing, but it's a lot of fun. And I'm enjoying this episode a lot more than I was yesterday when I recorded. But I hope I got my point across on that. So you know who you want. You've already defined who you like. You already have your sense of self-identity. You know why you want to be in a relationship. You're mentally ready. You're mentally stable. Now it's like you got to figure out like some of the things that you want in a person. Because I think this is very important, because if you don't know, at least have some guide of who you want, you could settle for anything and be unhappy, right? And I feel like that's where a lot of people struggle as well, is with understanding who they want. You know, because we all get caught up in the feeling of, oh, this person likes me and I like them and going great, and I got the butterflies in my stomach and everything's going great, but it could be a totally terrible person for you. And then it's like you skip through the whole talking stage because everything feels great. And I do want to talk about that as well, the talking stage. Okay. And I was going to make this a separate episode, but I think I'm going to talk about it in this episode. A lot of times what happens is the whole plan just falls apart because of the feelings. It just, you know, because we get excited, right? And so we kind of skip through the talking stage, right? People don't really talk that much anymore, I feel like. Like, genuinely, I have very few friends who I feel like actually talked for a while. It's like, oh, we talked for a week and now we're dating. It's like, okay, whatever. I hope it goes well for you. Honestly, I hope it goes well for you. But we get caught up in the feelings. And so when you've done these steps already and you understand everything, it gets a lot easier for you to understand. It gets a lot easier for you to see if this person really is going to be good for you or not. If that makes any sense whatsoever. I hope it does. But, you know, a lot of people are just skipping through the talking stage, and it's like you're going to spend the rest of your life with this person unless your intentions are honestly just to hook up with some person, right? Unless that's your intention. Like, if you're trying to find somebody you want to spend the rest of your life with, you don't need to rush it, right? Like, you want to make sure that this is the right person, right? So you don't need to rush it. And I know it gets exciting with all the feelings there and everything's just feels so good, but you have your whole life together. So just take it slow. Figure out if this is really the person that you want and assess the situation with like understanding, is this person going to be good for me? Right? Anyways. Now that I'm out of that rabbit hole. Point number 4 is independence. Independence. That's a good one, actually. I'm saying this because when you get into a relationship, it is important to have your individuality and know you are separate people. This is kind of a fun one because, like I said earlier in today's episode, when I was with this girl a long time ago, it was like I found my sense of identity in her, and like, you know what I'm saying? And so it was like she completed me. And then we had like no, there was no independence. But point number 4, a lot of people, when they get into a relationship, their whole life becomes about their partner. And that's all they do is spend time with this person. That's all they think about. And then they base their life off of just this person. I don't know, that seems kind of toxic to me, honestly, a little bit. But like, I don't know, that maybe that's just me. But a lot of people like will cut off their entire lives just to spend every moment they have with this person that they're with. And yeah, I know, I get it. It gets exciting and it's, you feel important and you feel cared for and whatever, but you also need your individuality in a relationship as well. Like, make sure you keep your identity separate from the relationship as well. Like, you still have a life outside of your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Like, you still do things, you still see people without this other person. Not everything has to be together, right? And this one's difficult because, the feelings are there, and right, I don't know, I can't say that enough. But it's very, very, very important in a relationship to like have some independence and make sure that you have your sense of self-identity. So you're not just basing it off of this relationship or this other person. You have your self-worth. You still have a life, right? So point number 4 is independence. So you still have your self-independence. Still have your own identity, right? So point number 5 is relationship readiness. Relationship readiness. You've done all the steps. You've gotten so far. You know who you are. Okay, I'm probably not going to repeat it again, but all the steps, right? But now you need to ask yourself, are you even ready? I mean, and some of you, like I said, you just want the experience. But if you're like in it, you need to be ready to take the leap, because dating and or relationships are not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. There's going to be ups and downs. And you have to understand that, and you have to be willing to take the risk of getting hurt. You have to be willing to be vulnerable with this person. And if you're not, then you're not ready, right? I mean, and there is some things you can do to work on that with your partner as well. So like if you're already in a relationship and you're like, I'm not ready to get hurt and whatever, honestly, good luck. I hope it goes well for you, but before you get into a relationship, you have to ask yourself, am I willing to take the risk? And if you're not willing to take the risk, then you're not ready. Relationship readiness. It's like, you're going to have to be vulnerable in a relationship. That's how they work. That's how every relationship works. And with that comes the chance of, like getting your heart broken. So you have to decide whether the reward is worth the risk. If you don't figure that out, you're just going to be wasting your time and you're going to be wasting everybody else's time. And I've had that happen a lot of times. And I've been that person a couple times as well, where it's like I try and get into a relationship with somebody and then they're like, why do you want to be in a relationship? I'm like, I don't know. But I also like refuse to open up about how I feel or anything with people. And they're like, if you're not willing to talk to me, like, why are we here? And I'm like, well, because I want to whatever. And I say whatever. And then they're like, I don't know. But it all comes down to me just being like, I don't want to get hurt. Nobody wants to get hurt, but are you willing to? And back to the talking stage. I mean, I don't think you have to be, I don't know. I don't think you have to, I think the talking stage is so important and it's so valuable, but so many people miss it. It's like it could be used to ready yourself and like understand this person that you want to be with. Like, people just rush into it within like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks without really understanding the person that they're with. And then they like get with this person and they're like, holy cow, this is a totally different person than I thought they were. And then the breakup just hurts even more. Maybe I should do a separate episode about the talking stage, but I don't know. Maybe. I was honestly thinking about it. I wrote out a script and everything. I have a lot to say about the talking stage, but maybe not enough for a full episode, but I don't know. So today we talked about the steps that you have to take to be ready, to know that you're ready to be in a relationship. And I would encourage you, if you're thinking about getting into a relationship, to first assess the situation, go through these steps. Because I genuinely think that they will help a lot. And it's not just my opinion. There's several websites that I referenced as well. But the very first thing you should do is be aware. Be self-aware. Where are you at? Are you genuinely ready to be in a relationship? Do you have your identity? Do you have your sense of self-worth? Do you know where you want to go in life? What you want to do? And then after that, are you emotionally ready? Are you emotionally ready to take care of somebody else? After that, do you know why you want to get into a relationship? And then not only that, but do you know who you want to be in a relationship with? Like, what are some things that you're looking for in a person? Do you understand that when you get into this relationship, it's vital to keep your identity, keep your independence? And then ask yourself, are you ready? Are you ready to take the risk of getting hurt? I would love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. Feel free to message me. If you have any thoughts on today's episode, I know I'm not a professional, like love doctor or whatever, but I did the best I could and I used other people's advice as well and different people's opinions and whatever. So I did my very best, but I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Like, honestly, if you're listening, let me know what you think. And you can message me on Instagram or Facebook at Alpha Insight Podcast. Reach out. I would love to hear from you. That would be super awesome. Alrighty, so the next episode that's going to come out is an interview with a friend of mine, Luke Salvatore. I'm super excited for this one. He is amazing, and I'm recording it soon, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for this one. He's got a lot of opinions on a lot of things, and I'm just super stoked to get him on here and share his opinion with you guys. So stay tuned for Thursday's episode. Next Monday, I might do, I don't really know what I'm going to talk about, honestly. I'll figure it out. But Valentine's Day is coming up, and I want you to be ready, And it's okay to not have a partner. So with all that said, my friends, if you enjoyed today's episode, I would appreciate it if you share a link with somebody or do a repost on Instagram or Facebook or something. Leave a rating or review. That'd be super awesome. But I hope I brought value to your day and I brought value to your lives. That's what I want to do. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you. I really do. So with all that said, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week.